Alright, so our MC regresses to before marrying his toxic fiancée, Shen Youchu. First order of business? Canceling the wedding immediately. Meanwhile, a completely clueless Shen Youchu is bringing her first love back home. Our regression MC learned his lesson. This time he is absolutely done playing her fool. He steps inside her house and his mood immediately goes down the drain. In fact, he lived there for 2 whole years as her fiancée. Now, Shen Youchu is basically the ultimate rich, pretty girl of her era. She is young, drop-dead gorgeous, and super popular. On top of that, she is a star performer in the prestigious military art troupe. But the moment her first love, Xu Hongfei, shows up, her brain literally stops working. She gets completely blinded by him. Take what just happened, for example. This guy Xu Hongfei deliberately fakes a spill, pretending the teacup is too hot to hold. He splashes scalding tea all over his own leg, but Shen Youchu blames the MC immediately. She yells at our MC, shoves him away, and accuses him of doing it on purpose. Then she grabs her precious first love and runs off to the clinic. If this were his past life, our MC would be absolutely heartbroken. He would even blame himself for her anger, but this time, not a chance. He dealt with way worse in his past life, starting with how their marriage began. Her father set up the marriage, even though everyone said our MC did not deserve her. She was a golden girl, and he was a country nobody. They were from completely different worlds, so everyone saw him as a total social climber. Because of that, the MC lived in constant fear of losing her, walking on eggshells. He even gave up major career opportunities just to stay by her side. He ignored her constant flirting with other guys, completely losing himself after they married. He let her make every decision, even agreeing when she refused to have kids. But then, her father suddenly fell critically ill. He needed round-the-clock care, and her mother was far too weak to do it. So, our MC had to make the ultimate sacrifice and quit his hospital job. He returned home to nurse her parents, a thankless job he did for over 20 years. Meanwhile, Shen Youchu got transferred to a new job in a completely different province. They ended up living completely separate lives, barely seeing each other at all. But the moment her father passed away and the funeral ended, Shen Youchu instantly demanded a divorce. This is low-key heartbreaking, guys. Her excuse was that they had no kids, and their spark was long gone. Our MC was completely stunned. By then, he was already in his 40s. Yes, they were married for 20 years, but the time they actually spent together? Not even 6 months, let alone real intimacy. She never let him touch her. Is no kids really his fault? Talk about being gaslit. But the absolute worst part was her mother. The woman he nursed like his own mother for 20 years completely sided with her. She even told him straight up that he never deserved her daughter anyway. Devastated, our MC flat out refused to sign those papers. But then Xu Hongfei showed up. After decades of exhausting labor, our MC had aged. His hair had turned white, and his once handsome face was covered in deep wrinkles. Yet Xu Hongfei looked like he had barely aged a day. He still looked handsome and polished, wearing a sleek trench coat. Look at his sharp suit pants and perfectly styled hair. Add in some gold-rimmed glasses, and he looked incredibly elegant. Standing next to him, Shengying felt like total dirt, yet he had blindly pampered his wife. Her lover claimed that if Shenying's dad hadn't saved her father's life, they would have never married. He accused Shengying of tearing them apart, saying he owed them now that her father was gone. He literally demanded that since Shengying had possessed her for half a lifetime, it was time to give her back. A lifetime of these vicious accusations drove Shengying to the absolute brink of madness. Devastated, he rushed out of the house, followed by the screeching sound of brakes. A tearing pain consumed him as his vision blurred. Through the haze, he saw the driver get out with a completely panicked face. It was just a high school kid, but that face! It looked 80% like his wife, Shen Youchu, as both she and her lover chased after them. The kid ran to them, crying out that he had just run someone over. The kid was actually theirs. In that moment of sheer betrayal, Shengying's vision went black. Consumed by pure rage, he coughed up blood and lost consciousness. But when he opened his eyes again, the calendar showed August 16th, 1983. Shocked and thrilled, he realized he had regressed back to the day he gave up his career. It was the day of his advanced training. He immediately tore that calendar page off. He marched right into the director's office, requesting to join the full-time training program. Director Chen was stunned, pointing out that just this morning he had other plans. "Didn't you say you were getting married?" the director asked, but Shengying was completely done. He firmly stated that he was still young and there was no rush to get married. Suppressing his racing heart, he stood tall and proud. With unwavering determination in his eyes, his voice was filled with resolve. He told the director that he wanted to focus on improving his medical skills first. Putting his career first would allow him to better serve the military and help his comrades. Honestly, this sudden burst of passion completely startled Director Chen. The director pushed up his glasses with a smile, giving him a fair warning. He reminded Shengying that this intense training program would last for 3 years. It was fully closed, with absolutely no vacations except for major holidays. Because of the brutal schedule, almost all the younger doctors refused to go. But Shengying just nodded, saying he had read the documents and was ready. He begged the director to give him this life-changing opportunity. Impressed by his drive, Director Chen praised his dedication to the job. He agreed, noting that Shengying was only in his early 20s anyway. "Why rush into marriage, Comrade Qi Shengying?" The director approved his application right then and told him to go prepare. After thanking him, Shengying headed straight back home to his bedroom. In the mirror, he saw a ridiculous purple bruise on his forehead. His wife, Shen Youchu, had shoved him earlier, causing the injury. Nearby sat their wedding photo. In it, she wore a stylish dress with her permed hair draped over her shoulder. He had a bright, happy smile, but her shoulder was visibly turned away in disgust. With a cold expression, he flipped the photo face down. In modern terms, he had been nothing but a pathetic, brainless simp. The kind who simped until he lost everything. Now he pulled out his notebook. Sitting on the edge of the bed, Qi Shengying starts listing what she can pack. She notes down what needs replacing, since her new training school is in the provincial capital. Buying things there will be much easier, but there is still one major catch. You need supply coupons for literally everything, making her sigh in frustration. Reaching deep into the bottom of her wardrobe, she pulls a small box from the folded quilts. Opening it reveals all the savings she accumulated over the past 2 years, along with various supply coupons, and just as she starts to count them, the front door swings open and a voice says she does not need to support him. He claims he can walk on his own, his voice carrying a gentle softness she could never replicate. It is Xu Hongfei, followed by a cold, commanding voice telling him to stay still. That dominant voice belongs to Shen Youchu, and the next second, Qi Shengying's bedroom door is kicked open. "Why are you at home?" Shen Youchu demands. She freezes at the entrance, supporting the delicate and completely unmasculine Xu Hongfei. Qi Shengying laughs and asks if she forgot that this is her home too. A flicker of discomfort crosses Shen Youchu's face, likely from the sheer embarrassment. Shen Youchu fails to notice that Qi Shengying's tone has become completely detached. She carefully helps Xu Hongfei sit down, then barks orders, just like she is training a recruit. "Since you are home, Hongfei is hurt, so he will be staying here for a few days." "Take care of him," she commands, bringing back a painfully familiar scene. In her past life, when Qi Shengying saw Shen Youchu bring this guy back, she was already heartbroken, yet under Shen Youchu's relentless pressure, she ended up serving as his personal caregiver, spending those days in a complete daze. Qi Shengying sneers, asking where she is supposed to go when her bedroom only has a single bed. Before Shen Youchu can even respond to her, Xu Hongfei quickly cuts in, suggesting he should just go back. He glances at Qi Shengying, claiming his stay might cause too much trouble. He offers a fake apology, saying he and Youchu grew up together. She has always been incredibly attentive and loves looking after people. He insists he can manage alone, but she simply refuses to let him. As he speaks, his eyes are filled with pure affection. He gives Shen Youchu a sweet smile, and though her face remains stern, her voice instantly softens the moment she speaks directly to him. She scolds him about his badly burned leg, prompting Qi Shengying to look down at his feet. He is wearing white socks and black sandals with absolutely zero signs of any injury. "Just stay here," Shen Youchu insists, promising that Qi Shengying will take perfect care of him. She turns her cold gaze to Qi Shengying, and honestly, the audacity of this girl is unreal. Her expression is totally lifeless as she demands an answer, but Shengying remains dead silent, neither agreeing nor refusing, which makes Xu Hongfei look incredibly awkward. He mutters that he should leave, claiming Comrade Qi clearly does not want him there. This immediately makes Shen Youchu frown as her voice sharpens with irritation. Addressing Shengying directly, any trace of her previous gentleness completely vanishes. Her voice is now like pure ice, reminding everyone she has always been the favored daughter of heaven. Blessed with a wealthy family, gorgeous looks, and sharp brains. Not to mention her endless talents, so even when her father faced a massive political downfall, she was shielded perfectly by his old comrades and sailed straight into the military performing arts troupe. Right now, she is the big boss chief of the art troupe, and what she says goes. How could a proud woman like her ever tolerate him talking back? Facing her heavy pressure, Shengying finally looks up. Showcasing his forehead, he bluntly asks her if she is completely blind. He got seriously hurt, too, staring her down without a single shred of fear. Calling her out word for word, she pushed him but only cares about the other guy. She finally notices the massive bruise on his head. Only then does she remember her own actions. She shoved him aside earlier just to look after the homewrecker. Looking away guiltily, she quietly asks if he is doing okay. The double standard is wild. The other guy barely has a scratch on his leg. Yet Shengying got his head cracked while she barely got touched. All she has is a lazy question before suddenly grabbing his hand. Frowning, she tells him he is just jealous and offers the hospital. He immediately yanks his hand back. No thanks, he is fine. Her face turns dark, but right on cue, the green tea rival jumps in with fake concern. He tells her not to worry since Comrade Qi said he is all right. Her jaw clenches. She storms over to the bed, aggressively rolling up his bedding. Since you are fine, clear out. She claims her guest is a massive germaphobe who needs clean sheets. Shengying is ordered to move into her room instead. Hearing this, the rival completely panics. He forces a weak smile, protesting that sharing a room is highly inappropriate, and gossip like that would completely ruin her career. Her face turns incredibly icy. Who would dare talk? She snaps that everyone knows he is her fiancé. But the homewrecker fires back. You two are not married yet. Our guy literally laughs at him and suggests the living room. Couch it is, Chief. He storms into her room, grabs her bedding, and dumps it on the sofa. Smirking, he tells her she will have to deal with it. Enjoy the couch for a few nights. The rival immediately tries to guilt trip him, claiming she is a lady. Shengying points at his own face. Should I sleep there then? When the guy eagerly nods, our guy laughs. Did you forget she is my fiancé and this is my house? If she had not brought you here, she would not be on the couch. Honestly, you belong on the couch, buddy. The rival looks to her for help, but her reaction is a total plot twist. Her lips curve up. A rare, bright smile lights up her face as she happily agrees to the couch. The rival is basically crying, but our guy just sneers. He sees right through her sudden good mood. Having two handsome guys fighting over her is a massive ego boost. Basically, she loved having both her fiancé and her childhood crush fight over her. Their jealousy totally fed her twisted vanity. Talk about a toxic ego boost. Our guy Shengying is totally disgusted, but then Shen Youchu demands he go buy groceries. She casually orders him to cook at home like he is her personal servant. She complains about the local cafeteria food and casually demands he fetch some canned fruit, too. Shengying just stares at her and holds out his hand for money. Like, bro, does she think groceries and food stamps just grow on trees? Shen Youchu gets annoyed and asks where his own money is. Classic freeloading behavior. Ever since his transfer, he has been paying for everything with his own salary. He never brought up money before, so she just took it for granted. It's honestly hilarious. He points out she is literally an art troupe leader making good money. Yet she brings her side piece for him to nurse without offering a single cent. That is way too much. Hearing this, Shen Youchu's face instantly darkens. She tells Shengying not to push his luck, acting like she owns him. This is where the green tea rival Xu Hongfei starts his pathetic little show. He holds back the raging fiancé and acts all sweet and innocent toward Shengying. He starts saying he shouldn't speak, so Shengying tells him to shut up. Our guy completely shuts him down. Xu Hongfei's face turns bright red from embarrassment.
Desperate for sympathy, he stands up and bows, fake apologizing like a victim.
He begs Qi Shengying not to fight with Shen Youchu over him. Absolute clown behavior.
But before he even finishes his dramatic speech, he fake stumbles to the side.
He starts falling over, and of course Shen Youchu rushes to catch him.
She catches him and glares at Qi Shengying with absolute fury in her eyes.
She literally demands an apology. Qi Shengying is just standing there laughing.
She screams that Hongfei's injury is his fault, so he must pay.
Without even thinking, she barks that he is obligated to serve this guy.
She even claims his rude attitude caused secondary mental damage to her precious crush.
Qi Shengying literally laughs out loud. That is the most brainless logic ever.
He looks at her and says if her brain is useless, donate it.
He taps his head with a cold look. The disrespect is legendary. He tells her that her absolute lack of common sense is seriously concerning.
He openly doubts if she even deserves to be the art troupe leader.
This completely triggers her. She is so mad she forgets all about Xu Hongfei.
She shoves the injured guy aside and lunges to grab Qi Shengying.
Poor Xu Hongfei gets tossed like a rag doll and actually hits the floor. He cries out in actual pain, but she does not even care. She grabs his collar and dares him to say it one more time. Qi Shengying stares back at her bloodshot, furious eyes with heavy breathing.
A wave of cold disappointment hits him. She is exactly the same as before. Spoiled since childhood, she is incredibly arrogant and cannot handle any criticism. At this point, she actually reaches up to wrap her hand around his throat. There is no way he is letting her choke him. Without hesitation, he shoves her back with all his strength, sending her stumbling.
Her grip breaks, and as soon as he can breathe again,
he swings his arm and slaps her right across the face.
He slapped Shen Youchu right across her face before she could even react. Pure satisfaction.
It was a lifetime of pent-up rage coming out at once.
Shengying grabbed whatever he could reach and just started throwing.
Teacups flew, teapots crashed, the trash duo got pelted without mercy. Xu Hongfei shrieked in pain, while Shen Youchu shielded her precious boy toy.
She screamed at Shengying, asking if he was crazy.
He grabbed a heavy metal tray. Crazy? Better than being a total idiot like you. Youchu blocked the tray, demanding to know what his problem was.
She lunged forward and grabbed his wrist.
Her eyes burned with rage. She told him he was acting like a hysterical child.
Zero maturity, zero class. She even threatened to reconsider their entire relationship if he kept this up.
Shengying violently shook her off and threw the front door wide open.
He called out her absolute hypocrisy for the whole compound to hear.
Neighbors were already gathering outside, pointing and gossiping at the massive drama. He announced loudly that he was her actual fiancé.
He only came here because her parents begged him to take care of her. Yet she looked down on his country roots while leeching off his care. And now she brought her side piece, demanding he serve him too.
He made it clear he was dumping her.
The engagement was off. You are completely unreasonable, he snapped.
With a crowd watching, they could not keep throwing hands. Fuming with rage, Youchu needed to vent.
She saw the last 2 glass cups on the table. She smashed them onto the floor, shrieking at the crowd to stop staring. She told everyone to mind their own business and beat it. Seeing her lose her mind made Hongfei a bit worried. Remember, Shengying had just sniped him in the face with a teacup. His shout pulled his fresh wound, making him grimace in pain. Youchu looked closely and saw his face was incredibly swollen. She took a deep breath and grabbed his hand. She coldly looked back, telling Shengying this was the second time. Today, he had hurt Hongfei twice. Her gaze was dark. She warned him she would settle this score once she got back. Then she dragged him away while the guy clung to her tightly. But after a few steps, he actually turned around. He flashed a smug, mocking smile. Seriously, what is his problem? Once the toxic couple left, the neighbors rushed over. They asked him what was going on with all the fighting.
Usually, Shengying was a super nice guy.
He worked at the military hospital and got along with everyone. He was always helping neighbors get medicine or register for doctor visits.
So naturally, the whole neighborhood absolutely loved him. Sister Zhang, in her early 30s, sneered that it was obviously that shameless girl. Right off the bat, someone tries to defend Shen Youchu, telling sister-in-law Zhang to stop spreading rumors. But sister-in-law Zhang just scoffs, asking if that Xu Hongfei and Commander Shen actually grew up together.
Comrades? Please, sister-in-law Zhang snorts, completely throwing shade at the guy.
She says Xiaoying and the commander were doing just fine until this guy showed up 6 months ago. He's been constantly clinging to her and dragging her out. Seriously, did they not see what happened? Just a moment ago, Commander Shen was openly holding hands with him. Sister-in-law Zhang literally spits in disgust. I mean, childhood friends or not, even real siblings wouldn't be this shameless in public. Back in those days, having an improper affair was a massive deal that could ruin your entire career. Seeing the drama unfold, our main character Xiaoying steps in with a dejected look, begging her to stop. He brings up his engagement. He sighs and says it was just a setup by her father anyway, since today is all about free love and finding your own partner. He says it is only natural she hates arranged marriages. This completely triggers the crowd. An older neighbor, Aunt Wang, steps forward and says, "Look, Xiaoying, you have been here for 2 years. Everyone saw how devotedly you took care of Commissioner Shen. If Commander Shen did not want the engagement, why on earth did she let you serve her family? Exactly. Why live together if she hated it? While secretly flirting and holding hands with another man in public. Honestly, what kind of decent girl does that?" Xiaoying secretly squeezes out a few fake tears. You see, he actually regressed. In his past life, he was way too stubborn, clinging to Shen Youchu no matter how cold she was, desperately trying to melt her frozen heart. But after dying once, he knows better. Suddenly, sister-in-law Zhang asks him a crucial question. Why did her father even arrange this marriage? I mean, everyone knows Youchu's father is a powerful leader, and she is his only daughter. Being a high-ranking commander in her early 20s, her future was basically golden. Why force his elite daughter into this? Xiaoying just sighs deeply, acting completely heartbroken as he lets out a quiet breath. He invites everyone inside to sit while they help him clean up. They pick up the shattered pieces of the teapot and teacups that have been smashed on the floor. Now they are all dying to hear the truth. He reveals that years ago, when Youchu's father was sent to their village, a massive flash flood hit. His father jumped right into the raging waters. He used his absolute last breath to push her father to safety, but was swept away by the current. 2 days later, they found his bloated body. It was devastating. Xiaoying chokes up, acting too sad to go on. Sister-in-law Zhang slams the table in pure rage, her face turning completely red. She calls Commander Youchu a heartless, ungrateful wretch. Xiaoying just sighs, playing along and saying the engagement was probably too sudden for her anyway. He doesn't want to cling to her anymore. But sister-in-law Zhang is furious, snapping that this just lets that annoying Xu Hongfei get exactly what he wants. A grown man acting that whiny is honestly making her sick. Back in those days, people had very traditional values. If you are engaged, you stay loyal. Shen Youchu's shameless betrayal is already bad enough to get her completely shunned by everyone. But Xu Hongfei knowingly chasing a woman who has a fiancé, that is a whole different level of trash. He deserves all the hate. Now, Xiaoying's trap is fully set. Shengying suddenly bursts into a violent coughing fit, startling everyone around her. Her coughing gets worse and worse until she is literally gasping for air. People cry out as Shengying clutches her throat with both hands. Sister Zhang immediately grabs her hands, exposing the brutal grip marks left by Shen Youchu. The dark bruises on her neck are now fully on display. Since Shengying has incredibly fair skin, the marks stand out like crazy. It is obvious that Shen Youchu used absolutely all her strength to choke her. The bruised skin leaves the surrounding crowd completely speechless. Aunt Wang asks in shock if Leader Shen actually put her hands on her. Shengying tries to speak, but she can only cough. She can only nod and shake her head, which makes everyone panic. They insist she needs to see a doctor immediately. Sister Zhang is smart and wants everyone to witness the injuries. This way, those two shameless cheaters cannot spread lies later. Without waiting for a response, Sister Zhang rushes outside. She brings her bicycle and insists on taking Shengying to the hospital.
Aunt Wang and the others push her out, refusing to let her pride get in the way.
They urge her to go, saying the dark bruises look terrifying.
Unable to refuse, Qi Shengying gets on the bike with Sister Zhang. Sitting on the back, Sister Zhang tells her not to be sad. Breaking off the engagement is honestly no big deal since she is still young.
She is pretty, has a great job, and a secure future.
Qi Shengying is deeply touched by these kind, supportive words. Honestly, she did not expect this country sister to be so open-minded.
She smiles as they finally arrive at the military hospital.
Sister Zhang guides her straight to emergency, screaming for help at the top of her lungs. Comrade Qi is hurt, she yells. Right then, Shen Youchu walks out supporting Xu Hongfei, whispering something caring to him. She looks up and freezes. Talk about a guilty conscience. Terrified of people seeing the choke marks, she even abandons Xu Hongfei. She tries to drag Qi Shengying away, making Sister Zhang absolutely furious.
Sister Zhang blocks her and starts shouting to attract a crowd. Half the hospital gathers to watch, and Shen Youchu completely loses her temper.
She almost gets into a physical fight with Sister Zhang right there.
Luckily, her troop commissar is there and pulls her aside for a harsh lecture.
After a bitter exit from Shen Youchu, Director Chen calls Qi Shengying into his office. He examines her neck and hands her some warm sugar water to soothe her throat. Luckily, there is no deep damage. He asks how she got these nasty injuries. Sipping the warm water, Qi Shengying finally feels some relief.
With a bitter smile, she explains that she just had a fight with Leader Shen.
She got choked because of Xu Hongfei. Director Chen nods. At this point, anyone with eyes can see those two are shady. His heart is elsewhere, which is exactly why she is determined to pursue further studies.
She plans to break up with him, but things are low-key complicated right now.
She begs Director Chen to keep her secret study plans safe for now. Dean Chen smiles, admitting he was worried our boy Qi would be too heartbroken. But seeing how clear-headed Qi is, the dean promises that before he leaves, his advanced training slot will stay totally secret and offers help if he needs anything. The dean looks at him with pure relief, which is completely different from his past life. Back then, when he resigned, the dean only looked at him with disappointment.
Qi bows deeply to Dean Chen, thanking him from the bottom of his heart.
Outside, Sister Zhang is still waiting with her bicycle to walk with him. On the way, she starts lecturing him again about being way too soft-hearted. She says he should have exposed their dirty affair right in front of the commissar. Let everyone see how badly Qi was treated by those terrible cheaters.
To curse out that absolute scumbag. In Sister Zhang's book,
any woman who treats a fiancé who spent 2 years caring for her like this is straight up trash who deserves to be ruined. Qi just chuckles and promises to make a massive scene next time. When they get back, it is clear Shen Youchu came by and left again.
Qi does not even care. He is leaving in 1 week anyway.
It is actually better if she never comes back, letting him leave in peace. But the moment he opens his desk drawer inside, his mind literally explodes with shock. The drawer is empty. The cash box he scraped together for 2 years. All his savings and supply coupons are gone. 2 whole years of hard work stolen. And guys, you do not even have to guess. He knows Shen Youchu took it. The front door was locked when he left and locked when he returned. There are 0 signs of a break-in. Only 2 keys exist in the world. He has 1 key, and Shen Youchu has the other. Gritting his teeth in pure rage, Qi storms out of the house. He asks Sister Zhang to borrow her bike while she's washing clothes. She looks up, her hands still covered in soapy white bubbles. She asks what is wrong, and Qi can barely hold back his fury. He tells her that Shen Youchu actually stole all his hard-earned savings, every single penny. Sister Zhang immediately jumps up, wiping her hands on her apron in shock. She offers to go help, but Qi insists on going alone. He grabs the bicycle, mounts it, and pedals away like crazy. He only has 1 week left in the city before cutting ties with her family forever. But he cannot keep dragging his kind neighbors into his drama. He cannot expect Sister Zhang to always fight his battles. Right now, a literal fire is boiling inside him.
Then crash! The bike hits a sharp rock on the dirt road.
He is thrown hard onto the ground, and the handlebars get bent. Blood scrapes along his arm, but he just wipes his face off. Qi pushes through the pain, straightens the handlebars, and keeps rushing to the guest house. He is terrified that if he is even a second too late,
That shameless woman will spend all his hard-earned money on her trashy lover, Xu Hongfei.
outside the guest house, he peers through the glass window. He spots Shen Youchu lining up for food while Xu Hongfei waits comfortably at a table. Without a second thought, he slams the bike against the wall and runs inside. Qi storms straight into the building and grabs Shen Youchu right by her arm. "Where is my money and food coupons?" Shen Youchu never expected Shengying to track him all the way to this guest house. To him, she was just a soft pushover who never fought back. Talk about a classic toxic fiancé. Someone who would get punched and not say a word, but she is finally standing up for herself here. Shen Youchu flinches with guilt, but quickly snaps. "So what if I took it, you shameless girl?" "That is my salary," she demands, "so give it back."
She raises her voice, instantly drawing the attention of everyone waiting in line for food.
Everyone stares at Shen Youchu, and to make it worse, a few people in the crowd actually recognize him. His face turns red with embarrassment as he stammers, "My allowance for this month is already gone." "Consider this money borrowed," he says. "I will pay you back next month." She just scoffs. "It is only borrowing if I agreed. Otherwise, it is straight up stealing." And honestly, she is so right. "Shen Youchu, let me make this very clear. I do not agree. Give me back my money right now, or else I am going straight to your superiors." Let us see what happens to a proud art troupe leader. When charged with theft, at this, Shen Youchu's face turns red with rage.
Tears of rage start welling up in his eyes, but Shengying just narrows her eyes warily.
Just then, Xu Hongfei creeps up like a ghost and addresses her as Comrade Qi. He whispers, "Let us go upstairs to talk. Everyone is watching us." Xu Hongfei looks incredibly awkward, but Shengying snaps back, "We talk here." She aggressively brushes his hand off her shoulder, refusing to let him act friendly.
She yells to the crowd, "Look at the generous leader Shen playing big shot and buying dinner,"
while secretly stealing the hard-earned money she saved by pinching pennies for 2 whole years.
Tell me, should he pay her back or not? Instantly, everyone from the staff to the customers starts whispering. They all start pointing fingers at Shen Youchu, and honestly, seeing this ungrateful jerk squirm is so satisfying.
He hisses, "Shengying, what on earth do you want? I already told you I am just borrowing it."
Shengying stands her ground, shouting that she just wants her money back, and reminds him she is his fiancé. Shen Youchu roars back, "How can taking your money to use even count as stealing?"
She laughs right in his face. "Oh, so you actually remember that I am your fiancé? We are only engaged, do you not get that? Our finances are still completely separate." For the past 2 years, she paid for his food and clothes, and now he steals her money to treat his childhood friend. Shen Youchu, do you honestly think you are acting like a decent human being? And with that, Shen Youchu grits his teeth so hard they might shatter. Eyes spitting absolute fire, he lunges to grab her. But suddenly, a booming voice shouts, "Shen Youchu!" A loud voice rings out, completely snapping the furious man out of his rage. He turns his head and his entire face freezes. Standing there is Commissar Qi. Yes, the absolute boss has arrived. A private dining room door swings open and a tall man in his early 40s steps out. The man has a very powerful aura with deep, piercing eyes. Eyes that can look straight through you. He walks right up to Shen Youchu, giving him a cold look. Under that powerful, crushing pressure, Shen Yuchu's head slowly drops in shame. Commissar Qi speaks up, telling Shen Youchu how deeply disappointed he is, reminding him that he is a soldier. Is this really how you treat the people? At this point, Shen Youchu does not even dare to breathe. "I order you to return to the art troupe immediately and spend a week self-reflecting. After that, write a formal apology and publicly confess your disgraceful behavior in front of everyone." Shen Youchu looks like he just swallowed glass. A public confession is literally social suicide for him, and we love to see it. But he cannot say a word because Commissar Qi is a powerful war veteran with massive influence. There are even rumors that this powerhouse is getting promoted to the very top any day now. Shen Youchu did not dare cross Commissar Qi. Seeing this, the scheming Xu Hongfei quickly scrambled over. She tried playing the family card, arguing that Comrade Qi was actually Commander Shen's fiancé. Since it was a domestic dispute, she argued that outsiders should not get involved. But Commissar Qi completely ignored her, leaving Xu Hongfei awkwardly biting her lip. Instant karma. She kept pushing, arguing that putting a commander in solitary for a public apology would ruin his prestige. How was Commander Shen supposed to lead his men after that, she pleaded.
Only then did the commissar glare at Xu Hongfei, a chilling look that made her shrink back.
She cowered behind Shen Youchu, but the commissar demanded to know his side of things.
Shen Youchu hesitated for a moment before agreeing to return to the art troupe immediately. Xu Hongfei gasped in shock, but Shen Youchu silently tugged her hand to stop her. Signaling her to remain quiet, he gave Commissar Qi a formal salute and turned to leave. "Hold on," the commissar called out, ordering them to return all of Comrade Qi's money. Furious and utterly humiliated, Shen Youchu pulled out the cash and food coupons with trembling hands.
He handed them over, and she accepted with a bright, satisfied smile. She even counted the bills right in front of them, making Xu Hongfei sneer in disgust. She muttered that Qi Shengying was just a petty girl who had never seen real money.
Qi Shengying just scoffed, making Xu Hongfei turn to Shen Youchu in absolute frustration. But with the commissar watching, Shen Youchu avoided her gaze entirely. So satisfying to watch.
The defeated duo slunk out of the guest house, and the commissar turned to salute Qi Shengying. He apologized for the trouble, which completely flustered her. Unsure how to return a military salute, she simply gave him a deep, grateful bow. Honestly, Qi Shengying knew exactly what was happening. The commissar's harsh punishment seemed brutal, but it was actually a clever way to protect him.
Later, Xu Hongfei cornered her, warning Qi Shengying that Youchu would only hate her more. She glared with absolute fury as the commissar led the disgraced commander away.
Qi Shengying laughed. Since he loves you so much, you better hold on to him tightly.
With her money back, she did not want to waste another second on Xu Hongfei.
She proudly hopped onto her bicycle, humming a cheerful tune as she rode away.
She pedaled to the cooperative, buying several jars of canned fruit. She also grabbed 2 red notebooks and a box of pencils. She got back to the compound just as night fell. With Shen Youchu locked up, she would not have to face him before her departure.
In an amazing mood, she spent the next few days preparing.
After packing her few belongings, she reached her very last night in the compound.
She carried the jars of canned fruit to visit neighbors who always looked after her.
Hearing that Qi Shengying was leaving for advanced studies, Auntie Wang accepted the gift. She immediately reached under her mattress, pulling out a bundle wrapped in a handkerchief. Shoving it into her hands, she warned that the city was incredibly expensive.
She scolded Qi Shengying for wasting money on canned fruit, ordering her to take it. Qi Shengying quickly shoved it back, assuring her she had plenty of money.
Her final stop was Sister Zhang's house, bringing the canned fruit and notebooks.
She handed over the pencils too, begging Sister Zhang not to reject the gifts. Stopping Sister Zhang from shoving them back, she spoke with a perfectly serious face.
She explained that she actually needed a major favor after she left the compound. Since Xu Hongfei and Shen Youchu would definitely cause trouble, she needed her to watch them. Alright, so our boy gets told to keep in touch before slipping out of bed right at dawn. With his bags packed, he takes one last look back at the place he used to call home.
It is a permanent goodbye to this house, and honestly, we are so here for him dropping his doormat era. He grabs a mesh bag filled with some apples, orange juice, and 2 bags of powdered milk.
Plus 2 bags of malted milk before finally stopping right outside the Shen family door. Now that Father Shen got his political status back, they even returned their confiscated mansion.
In his previous timeline, Qi actually slaved away in this elegant European villa for over 20 years.
Standing here again brings back a wave of complicated emotions, so he takes a deep, heavy breath. He rings the doorbell, and Aunt Wu, the family housekeeper, is the one who opens it. Aunt Wu originally worked here, but in the previous timeline, when Father Shen fell seriously ill, our boy ended up quitting his job to play full-time nurse, while Mother Shen figured he could handle both the cleaning and caretaking all by himself. So they let Aunt Wu go, but right now, she has absolutely no idea who Qi is. Seeing a random young guy at the door, she looks pretty confused and asks who he's looking for. Qi says he is looking for Mayor Shen. Yes, he did his homework beforehand.
Sunday morning, both of the Shen parents should be home from work. Hearing some voices at the front door, Father Shen walks over holding a flower watering can. He is absolutely thrilled to see Qi and immediately ushers him inside the house.
Honestly, this old man was the only one who genuinely cared and tried to protect him.
Even on his deathbed in his past life, he held his daughter Shen Youchu by the hand, forcing her to promise she would never break Chai's heart or mistreat him.
Too bad Youchu was completely heartless, but seeing this sweet old man alive again low-key makes Qi tear up as he gets gently pulled inside the villa. Father Shen has him sit in the living room while turning to give Aunt Wu instructions. He proudly tells her this is his son-in-law Qi and asks her to whip up a massive lunch. He even reminds her to buy a fresh carp because Qi loves sweet and sour fish.
Aunt Wu nods with a smile, takes off her apron, and heads out to the market. Once she leaves, Father Shen asks why he came back so suddenly, his voice laced with worry.
He asks if things are okay with Youchu, but before he can finish, someone calls out. Silence. Mother Shen walks down the stairs, making Qi quietly clench his fists. He stands up, politely, ever since her husband got his official rehabilitation. Mother Shen did not have to sweep streets anymore and got her comfy office job back. Along with that, her massive ego returned too as she coldly tells him to sit down. Cold, incredibly icy, she treats him like a total stranger instead of her son-in-law. Looking past him, she frowns and demands to know why he returned all by himself. Qi explains he was sent by the hospital for advanced training, but before he can finish, Mother Shen cuts him off, asking if he actually came out to study by himself, while leaving Youchu completely alone in the military camp. Father Shen instantly glares at her. He scolds her to let the kid finish, but she snaps back that he is already here.
What else is there to explain? She sneers, tossing her freshly permed short hair.
With her classic glasses perched on her nose, she looks incredibly snobbish and cold.
The definition of a snobbish mother-in-law. Honestly, seeing her act like this makes me so mad. Mother Shen aggressively taps her fingers on the table, her anger visibly building up now. It was so he could serve Youchu nearby, she snaps, clearly disgusted with him. She always looked down on his rural roots, thinking he was never worthy of her daughter. But since the kid's dad saved Father Shen's life the moment he returned, he first sent the kid to medical school and later pulled strings to get him into the military hospital. This placed him super close to their daughter, and Mother Shen assumed his career was finally set. So he could live a stable life, which felt like enough to repay his late father's ultimate sacrifice.
But her husband went rogue anyway, completely bypassing her to lock in a marriage between the two kids.
Only because this meant their daughter would be pampered and meticulously cared for. Mother Shen reluctantly accepted it, but look at what is happening now. Mother Shen literally points at Qi Shengying, screaming at her husband, "I told you so!" These country bumpkins are totally untrustworthy, cheap to their very core, but you just wouldn't listen. Look at him now. He only ran back here to leech off us and enjoy a comfortable life. Qi Shengying just stands up, locking eyes with Mother Shen, and politely drops in, "Auntie." "There is one thing I must correct you on," he says, knowing exactly what kind of person she is. He does not even feel angry, just calmly staring back at Mother Shen. Changing his tone, he states, "I did not come back to relax. This off-duty training is to help me better save lives at the hospital. As for Commander Shen, she is a fully grown adult, not some toddler who just learned to crawl. She does not need round-the-clock pampering. And as for calling him a country bumpkin..." Qi Shengying chuckles. "You keep throwing around that word. Why do you look down on farmers so much?" It is true he is a country boy, but as human beings, they are completely equal. Mother Shen is totally stunned. Like, did she really think she could walk all over him? The type who could never stand up for himself. Since when did he become so sharp-tongued? Ignoring her, Qi Shengying pulls out a Shanghai brand watch from his pocket. He hands it to the silent Father Shen, uncle. "I think my engagement with Commander Shen ends right here." Mother Shen shrieks, "What did you say?" Her screeching voice echoes again, claiming that if anyone should break it off, it should be her daughter. On what ground does Qi Shengying get to choose? Suddenly, Father Shen snaps, "Shut up!" His stern voice immediately shuts down his hysterical wife. He turns to the young man. "Son, can you tell me why?" He had watched Qi Shengying grow up and knew exactly how sensible this kid actually was. "Why else?" Mother Shen snaps, complaining that her daughter is always busy with the troop and cannot take care of the home while he cannot handle any hardship. Her eyes turn red.
Qi Shengying looked straight at Father Shen. Uncle, Auntie's actually right about one thing.
He is just a country bumpkin. Back then, Commander Shen only agreed to this engagement because his late father saved your life. This was never a good match.
Nobody should sacrifice their entire life just to repay a debt. Besides, he has already done more than enough.
Over the past 2 years, he saw it clearly. There are absolutely no real feelings between them.
Forcing it would only breed resentment. Besides, she already has someone she actually likes now. He is more than willing to step aside. Hearing this, Father and Mother Shen exchange stunned glances and demand in unison, "What do you mean, someone she likes?"
He answers simply, Xu Hongfei. Yes, do not cover for those two absolute backstabbers. Seeing Father Shen hesitate, he gently places the watch on the table. Let us leave it at this.
Goodbye, Uncle. Please take good care of your health from now on.
Stepping out of the Shen family home, he looks up at the vast blue sky. Feeling completely liberated, he heads straight to the medical school to register. There are only about 20 students in this training program, starting a week earlier than the regular class.
In her past life, Shengying entered medical school in the late 70s with Father Shen's help. But that education was pretty unsystematic and incomplete. On top of that, she had not touched medical work for decades after. Trying to pick it up again now? She was low-key rusty.
Determined not to waste this second chance, she absorbed knowledge like a sponge. Busy as ever, September arrived in a flash. College started. Campus was buzzing. Saturday was a sweet half-day. Perfect for her planned movie date with roommates that afternoon.
Right after lunch, she stepped out of her dorm carrying 2 new books.
Sister Zhang's son was failing math, so she headed to the post office. She wanted to mail them, but right as she stepped out of the school gates, a familiar voice called out, making her spin around in total shock. Nearby stood a girl in a women's military uniform, looking pale and stunning.
Her gorgeous looks effortlessly turned heads left and right.
The moment Shen Youchu saw her, hope lit up her bloodshot eyes. Running over, she left Qi Shengying staring in complete disbelief.
Seriously, how did she end up looking this wrecked so fast?
Compared to before, she looked utterly depleted. Her already thin frame had withered even more under pure exhaustion. Dark circles bruised her eyes, wiping out her usual bright spark. Had solitary confinement actually broken her? Well, except for her attitude, she was still incredibly impatient. Striding up to Qi Shengying, she spat her name through gritted teeth.
Where have you been, and why did you just vanish without a word?
Qi Shengying was baffled. What does that have to do with you? Onlookers were staring. No way she was creating a scene. Attempting to walk past, she was instantly blocked. Throwing out an arm, Shen Youchu glared and demanded an answer. Have you had enough yet? Qi Shengying took a deep breath. Forcing herself to stay calm, she asked who was causing drama.
Maybe because they were in public, Shen Youchu managed to suppress her rage.
Lowering her voice, she hissed for her to remember her place. Qi Shengying laughed. My place? You must be kidding.
As a law-abiding citizen, what other place could she possibly have?
Despite the heavy sarcasm, Shen Youchu actually relaxed her expression. Claiming Qi Shengying was definitely just acting out, she smirked. Reaching out, she tried to grab her hand.
Qi Shengying instantly stepped back, keeping her guard up.
Shen Youchu frowned, asking what she meant by this. No shot. She actually asked if she was just jealous of Xu Hongfei? Attempting to explain, she swore she made it clear. They literally grew up together in the same compound. Calling him her brother made their closeness normal. Why get jealous? But then she hesitated. Her tone grew awkward, remembering how Qi Shengying had physically cursed him out.
At this point, his mental state is completely trashed, and he is depressed every single day.
She tells him he should be satisfied with this because she checked, and this training program takes 3 years. She demands that he drop out, pack his things, and head back home with her tomorrow. Hearing Shen Youchu boss him around like this, Qi Shengying is literally laughing from pure rage. He asks if she has lost her absolute mind, leaving her completely stunned. She cannot believe her ears, because she has known this guy for years. He used to speak slowly and softly just to hide his country bumpkin background. He even deliberately slowed down and lowered his voice, but things are different now.
She cannot believe he actually dares to sneer at her like this now.
He tells her and her parents very clearly that their engagement is officially over.
He even returned the watch her father gave him when they first got engaged.
He warns Shen Youchu one last time that they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. With their engagement officially off, Shen Yuchu's face instantly turns incredibly dark.
She corners Qi Shengying and screams that she does not agree, totally startling him.
He quickly backs away, knowing damn well what a terrible temper she has. She is used to getting her way, especially back at her art troupe. She plays nice to keep up her image as the troop leader, but out here, she snaps.
Before this, he was always the submissive one, walking on eggshells around her.
That was the only reason she never snapped. But look at her face now. It is pure anger. He has to stay on guard because he does not want any drama right as school starts.
The last thing he wants is a headline about a violent street fight at the school gate.
He points out that getting engaged or breaking it off requires mutual consent.
But she arrogantly snaps back that since she does not agree, the breakup does not count.
He finally loses his patience and raises his voice, telling her to stop being so ridiculous.
He points out that the marriage law literally states both sides must agree to make it valid. If one person says no, it is over, but she clearly does not care about rules.
She suddenly grabs him by the arm, trying to drag him toward a parked car. She yells that he was the one who wanted to get engaged in the first place. And now he wants to just back out.
Now, typically, a guy is stronger. But in her absolute blind rage, she somehow drags him off his feet. His shoes scrape against the asphalt as he is forced to stumble forward.
Honestly, seeing her fumes like this, it is obvious she has lost all logic.
She has completely lost her sanity, and she does not care about making a scene anymore.
Qi Shengying tries to plant his feet, yelling at her to let him go.
Hearing him yell like that, she freezes in shock for a second. But then she explodes with absolute rage. She swings her hand and slaps him right across the face, and he does not even dodge.
The slap lands squarely on his face, and blood instantly splatters everywhere.
Shocked by her own actions, she lets go as he feels a sharp, throbbing pain. He hunches over in pain, holding his face as blood drips through his fingers. It splashes onto the ground as she stammers that she did not mean to do it. Looking at her trembling hands, she panics and tries to help him up, crying out apologies. She never expected this to happen, but some medical students are already closing in. Bystanders and passersby are surrounding them, and a couple of them actually recognize him. They immediately run back to campus to get the school security involved. Our boy Qi Shengying finally takes a breath, covering his bleeding nose with one hand. He pushes Shen Youchu away as two medical students immediately step in to help.
They shield him behind their backs, even though both of them are just young girls.
Meanwhile, wearing her military uniform, Shen Youchu shows absolutely zero remorse. With his blood still on her hands, she does not look scared at all. The students confront her, demanding to know why she is hitting someone in public.
They yell to surround her quickly and not let her escape.
Honestly, how can someone wearing a military uniform lay their hands on a student? Something is seriously wrong with her, so they call campus security right now. Hearing the crowd calling her out, Shen Youchu looks completely annoyed by this. She points at Qi Shengying, claiming he is her fiancé and this is just a family matter. But the crowd is not buying it, shouting that being engaged means they are not even married. How is this a family matter? Even if they were actually married, she has no right to hit him.
They tell her to stop making excuses because everyone literally saw the whole thing.
She just charged in and attacked him. Fortunately, campus security arrives right in the middle of this wild chaos. Meanwhile, Qi Shengying is still bleeding like crazy, so a kind female student steps up. She soaks her own handkerchief in cold water and gently presses it inside his nose to stop it.
Then she wets her hands to pat his forehead to help stop the bleeding.
It actually works, and as the bleeding slows down, Qi Shengying finally stands up. He points directly at Shen Youchu and tells security that this woman assaulted him.
Demanding to call the police, he gets cut off as she starts screaming across the room.
Shen Youchu yells that she already apologized to him, which completely triggers the female student who helped him.
She snaps back at her, asking how she would like being hit with a brick and just getting an apology.
Seeing Qi Shengying's swollen face and all the blood on his shirt, security takes them both to the office.
And then boom, Shen Youchu flashes her military ID to get out of it, but the officers are absolutely not having it.
They insist on calling her military unit to verify her story because the crowd was totally right.
Soldiers are supposed to protect people, not beat them up in the middle of the street.
Shen Youchu panics and flatly refuses because she already got locked up once because of him. If her military unit finds out she beat up a student, she is looking at some serious punishment.
With no other choice, she decides to call her parents for help.
Her parents show up in no time, and the moment they walk through the door, the drama shifts to another level. Mother Shen immediately demands to know where her daughter is, acting super entitled.
The officer has never seen someone this arrogant and asks who her daughter even is.
She proudly says it is Shen Youchu, claiming she heard security illegally locked her up.
At this point, you just know Mother Shen is so used to being a boss that she thinks she owns the place.
Banging her fingers on the desk, she looks incredibly arrogant and tries to dominate them.
She actually asks what their rank is to dare detain an active military officer.
Thankfully, her husband steps in and stops her before she makes a bigger fool of herself.
He politely tells the officer that his daughter called him, admitting she might have gotten into some trouble.
He gently asks what kind of mess she managed to get herself into this time.
The young officer looks closely at Father Shen, feeling like he recognizes him from somewhere.
Since the father actually has manners, the officer finally starts to calm down a bit.
He explains that Shen Youchu beat up one of their medical students right on the street.
Since she refused to give any info, they had to call her family to handle it.
The parents share a quick look, already guessing exactly who the victim in this mess is.
After getting the rundown of what happened, Father Shen's face turned completely dark.
But he still tried his best to hold back his anger and asked the officer, "Can I see that classmate first?" The security officer nodded and led them over.
The couple was taken next door, where Qi Shengying's bloody nose had already been given some basic first aid.
The bleeding had stopped, but still, his cheek was already swelling up pretty badly from that slap.
It looked pretty scary, and seeing Qi Shengying in such a miserable state, Father Shen was shocked and muttered, "What did that complete disappointment do this time?"
"Let me take you to the hospital." But Qi Shengying stood up and said, "Uncle, I'm fine."
With his nose hurt, his voice sounded stuffed up, but Mother Shen snapped.
"Fine? Then why is Youchu locked up?"
Mother Shen is literally so annoying, complaining that detaining her daughter over such a tiny issue was way too dramatic.
"How could you lock up your own fiancé?"
Qi Shengying just raised his hands. "Stop right there, Auntie."
He basically told her that his engagement with Shen Youchu is officially dead and gone.
He meant every word of it. He seriously hoped
she would stop calling them a couple ever again. Besides, she literally tried to drag him away right in broad daylight, which is insane. And then she physically assaulted him. Honestly, she should be deeply thanking the school security team
for showing up instead of the actual police. As for him, he's just a brand new freshman.
He doesn't have that power.
But let me tell you one thing.
Whether it's Youchu or some random person, whoever lays a hand on him gets arrested, period.
He stared directly at Mother Shen, a woman who had never shown him an ounce of respect, and coldly warned her to keep her daughter on a leash, making the woman absolutely boil with rage. If they weren't in a school office, she would have slapped Qi Shengying right then and there to teach him a lesson.
Like, how did her supposedly perfect daughter end up dealing with such a stubborn thorn? She is actually delusional.
Father Shen patted his wife's shoulder and told her to step outside so he could talk to Qi Shengying alone. Once she finally left, he walked over to Qi Shengying and gently patted him on the shoulder.
His face completely filled with guilt as he sighed, "Youchu. That child was terribly spoiled by her mother since they were young, and when he was sent away..."
Her mother couldn't manage her either, so she grew up with zero discipline. She acts without thinking. For that, Qi Shengying, Uncle has to apologize to you.
Saying this, he took a step back and bowed deeply. But Qi Shengying quickly dodged to the side. "Uncle Shen."
"Please don't. I can't accept this." Father Shen let out a long, heavy sigh.
Raising a kid like this is nothing but a complete, massive failure for both him and her mother.
He admitted he used to think Qi Shengying and Youchu's personalities actually balanced each other out since she was so wild.
Always acting without thinking, while he was calm and methodical. He thought they would build a great life together. He was totally wrong.
Qi Shengying just watched Father Shen in total silence, waiting to hear what he would say next as Father Shen walked over to the window. He stared out at the dark storm clouds rolling in, his heart filled with a complicated mess of emotions. After a long silence, he finally turned around and looked Qi Shengying in the eyes. "Xiaoqi,
How do you want to handle this today?" Qi Shengying lowered his eyes, remaining silent.
Father Shen pulled a pack of cigarettes out of his pocket, admitting his next request might put him in a tough spot. His hands shaking as he tried to light one, he said that he and Mother Shen only had this one child, Youchu, and no matter how disappointing she turned out to be, they still desperately wanted her to have a good life. He begged Qi Shengying to forgive her just this once.
Qi Shengying stayed quiet for a moment. Finally, he looked up. "I understand your point, Uncle."
Father Shen smiled weakly, praising him for being a good kid who was just as upright as his father. They were truly kind-hearted. "Making this kind of request, I really," Father Shen started to say.
Then he suddenly slapped his own face, crying that he failed as a parent.
He choked up, deeply apologizing. For decades, he lived with his head held high, never begging anyone.
"Your father literally saved my life, yet my own daughter raised her fists at you."
"Just thinking about it makes my heart ache," he said, pointing to his chest. It is honestly low-key heartbreaking to watch a proud veteran break down. This once iron-willed man was actually shedding tears, all because of his daughter. Even though he already knew this,
Still, the reality disappointed him. He thought Father Shen loved him unconditionally, especially since in his past life,
the dying old man had placed Shen Youchu's hand into his own palm. But looking back now, no love is truly unconditional, because if he and Shen Youchu were given a choice, he would always choose his own daughter, even if she was clearly in the wrong. The one who just hurt her savior's son, so he told him to stop. Letting go of his final obsession, our boy Qi Shengying felt a sudden wave of relief. He thanked the old man for raising him and promised to drop the charges. Before Father Shen could speak, Qi Shengying added one very firm condition.
He demanded that Commander Shen Youchu stay far away and never show her face again.
Thanking him, Father Shen stood up and walked out, telling his wife to follow. Qi Shengying officially told the guards he was dropping the case against her. She was released immediately. Once the family left, the guard suddenly slapped his forehead in shock, realizing that was actually the highly respected Mayor Shen, meanwhile back at their family home. Shen Youchu stubbornly argued that she refused to call off the engagement. "You absolute fool!"
he pointed at her angrily, asking what she was doing all this time. "Qi Shengying cared for you for 2 whole years, yet you turn around and choose another man?"
Shen Youchu remained cold and completely unmoved, telling him to believe her. She claimed her relationship with Xu Hongfei was completely innocent and pure. Seriously, how can someone be this completely blind to their own incredibly toxic behavior? Father Shen hurled a teacup at her, yelling that he knew Qi Shengying.
"He was always so gentle."
She must have been horribly toxic to push him to this extreme.
Breaking the engagement personally made Shen Youchu look completely lost and confused.
She felt she only showed minor care to her childhood friend Xu Hongfei.
He protected her back then.
Was that really so wrong? Seeing his daughter completely stubborn and blind to her actions, he waved his hand. Heartbroken, he told her to return to her military unit immediately. The engagement was officially off. He declared he was done caring, leaving her to face the consequences alone. Shen Youchu gritted her teeth, declaring that he belongs to her. Unless she calls off the engagement, she insists this marriage is still valid. Her eyes turn red with rage as she warns that without her direct permission, he is forced to stay by her side, and without her green light, he cannot go anywhere. But then, a sharp slap rings out. The hard slap whips Shen Youchu's face aside, and she turns back to her father in absolute shock, holding her cheek.
She asks if he really hit her over a guy, while her father points a trembling finger at her.
He is too furious to even speak, gasping heavily for air as his chest suddenly tightens. He suddenly clutches his chest and collapses, sending Shen Youchu into an absolute panic. She quickly catches him and helps him onto the living room sofa. Mother Shen runs in at the noise, desperately scrambling to find his emergency heart medication to save him.
She shoves the pill into his mouth, waiting anxiously for him to wake up. Once Father Shen finally stabilizes, tears of deep regret stream down his face as he asks his wife
where they went wrong with raising her, while Mother Shen desperately tries to calm him down.
She tells him to calm down, explaining that Shen Youchu is just stubborn and acting on impulse.
But Father Shen points straight at Shen Youchu, ordering her to get back to her military unit immediately.
He strictly bans her from taking leave or ever bothering Qi Shengying again without his direct approval.
Shen Youchu is literally losing her mind, tearing at her hair in pure, unbridled rage. She screams that they forced this engagement on her, and now they are suddenly calling the whole thing off. She asks why she has to follow their rules, completely losing her temper and acting so toxic.
She rants that her entire life has been controlled by them since the day she was born.
From school to the army and the art troupe.
Getting engaged and now breaking it off? Did she ever get to make a single choice?
They ordered her to get engaged to Qi Shengying, so she did, and they even put him in the military hospital.
She even agreed to let him live in her dorm, playing along with all of it.
But now they expect her to just accept the breakup and never see him again, which is actually crazy. She demands to know on what grounds they can control her life like this. By the end of her rant, Shen Youchu is practically growling like a wild animal.
Tears stream down her face, but she is still absolutely fuming.
She spins around and storms out, slamming the door hard enough to shake the house. Mother Shen frantically runs after her, desperately calling her name. But Shen Youchu just hops into her small jeep and floors the gas, making the tires screech on the road. She speeds away, leaving her parents in the dust. Talk about toxic main character energy. Father Shen struggles to breathe while clutching his chest, while Mother Shen breaks down in tears over the chaos. She does not dare say another word, terrified of making his condition worse. She rushes back to his side, handing him a cup of warm water to calm him down. But Father Shen pushes the cup away, taking a deep, exhausted breath in absolute, bone-weary defeat. He admits they completely spoiled her, but Mother Shen tries to ease his guilt. She says Shen Youchu is still young and just needs to face some real-world setbacks to learn.
The dad just chuckles bitterly, pointing out that Qi Shengying is actually 2 years younger than her.
Hearing him bring up Qi Shengying again, Mother Shen can only purse her lips in annoyance.
She low-key wants to talk trash about that country boy, but holds back to avoid triggering her sick husband. Sighing, she admits she honestly thought Shen Youchu never actually cared about the guy at all. But seeing this insane reaction proves otherwise, and they agree they cannot just let her run wild like this. Father Shen grips his warm cup, asking her why she thinks he ordered her back to the military right away. Deep breath. She realized she was only protecting him, especially this year, when a harsh crackdown on crime had just begun. As a soldier, though, Shen Youchu actually assaulted a civilian in public. Like, that is incredibly serious. If anyone decided to press charges, he would literally go to prison. That is when his mother, Yi Jing, suddenly remembered some terrifying internal rumors. There was this young girl who dated a few guys at once and was sentenced to death for hooliganism. Cold sweat instantly drenched her back. She tried to pour some hot water, but her hands were shaking violently. Nearly dropping the kettle, she told her husband she would find Youchu tomorrow. She promised to make the severity clear. Meanwhile, Qi Shengying never finished his movie. Oh, trust me, Shen Youchu's slap in that fit of rage was no joke. Back in his dorm from the security office, he stared closely at the mirror. His face was already swollen, total mess. That slap cheek would turn completely black and blue by tomorrow morning. His roommates absolutely roasted that toxic trash and begged him to take 2 days off. No, I'm fine, he told them. I still have practical class tomorrow. His roommate, Chen Xiaodong, flopped onto his bed, sighing that he was working too hard. Compared to you, I'm basically a slacker, another roommate laughed. Qi has got to be the most dedicated student in our entire class. Honestly, he is easily one of the most hardworking guys in this entire year. A third roommate shook his head. Seriously, forget waking up early or sleeping late. Even when he eats, he is stuffing a bun into his mouth with one hand, while flipping textbook pages with the other. The praise made him blush with embarrassment. You guys are totally exaggerating, he protested, but they all chorused back, yes, you are. He lowered his head, his eyes burning with quiet emotion.
In his past life, his entire world revolved around Shen Youchu, constantly sacrificing everything. He had quit his job early to be a house husband, devotedly caring for Shen's elders. He'd already lost an entire lifetime to that toxic relationship. No way he was wasting another second now. Basic theory, clinical practice. He had so much ground to catch up on, silently making a vow. This life, he was done holding himself back, and honestly, I'm here for it. The next day, he headed right off to class with that heavily bruised, swollen face.
Now, tons of students had witnessed the school gate drama, since Shen Youchu was pretty handsome,
Wore a sharp military uniform, and drove a flashy, rare Jeep. He had drawn a massive crowd, so when Shengying walked across campus now, it was inevitable people stared curiously. Luckily, medical students have decent manners.
so nobody pointed fingers or whispered gossip. Still, after this whole mess,
Way more people realized there was this incredibly hardworking guy in the nursing class. His name was Shengying, and some girls even started boldly confessing their feelings. They kept asking him out to the park. Honestly, he found the attention pretty refreshing. In his past life, after moving to the city, his entire world outside of nursing school was basically chained to Shen Youchu's side. Being pursued, it felt incredibly novel. So he politely rejected the girls and dove straight back into his studies, focusing entirely on leveling up his skills. And just like that, finals arrived. As expected, our boy completely aced both his theory exams and practical skills tests. He ranked first in the entire class. On the very first day of winter break, packing a few clothes, he grabbed the gifts he bought for Auntie Wang and Sister Zhang. Taking the bus back to the military hospital, he headed straight to report his progress. Looking over his flawless report card, Director Chen nodded with satisfaction and praised him. Director Chen told him to keep up the good work and asked about his holiday plans. Shengying shook his head, explaining he had no family left after leaving with Father Shen. His old village mud house was likely reclaimed by the local collective anyway. Hearing this, the director said that worked out perfectly since the hospital was short-staffed.
Rest up tomorrow and start your shifts the day after, he said.
Also, since the engagement with Shen Youchu was off, staying at the military compound was no longer appropriate. He advised him to ask logistics for a dorm, making Shengying's eyes well up as he thanked him. Shengying ran out, leaving Director Chen shaking his head with a gentle smile. Happily, he secured a room from logistics and spent the afternoon cleaning it up. Waking up early the next morning, he headed to the head nurse to set his shift schedule. He also borrowed her bicycle to visit Sister Zhang at the military family compound. Usually the art troupe is insanely busy during this season, so Shen Youchu rarely came home. At least that is what she always told him, so he didn't think much of it. With that in mind, he rode his bike right into the compound. But the second he passed through the front gates, he ran straight into the one person he dreaded seeing. It had only been 3 months, but Shen Youchu looked completely different. Not her looks, her entire energy was just completely drained. The second she spotted Shengying, her eyes instantly lit up. Then, like she saw a ghost, she spun around and bolted back into her dorm. She slammed the door shut, and the entire awkward interaction was over in 30 seconds. Before he could even process this, Sister Zhang stepped out to empty some water and saw him. Delighted to see him, Sister Zhang warmly dragged Shengying into her home. Shengying pulled a set of study guides out of his bag and handed them over. Sister Zhang looked at the books and was absolutely overjoyed. She kept saying these were impossible to buy locally while pouring him some warm water. Stirring in 2 big spoonfuls of sugar, she brought out some peanuts and melon seeds. As they chatted by the stove, she mentioned there was some massive gossip going around. Sister Zhang gestured with her chin toward the direction of Shen Youchu's dorm. Seeing his confusion, she smirked. She messed up, big time. The commander got stripped of her title, which shocked Shengying, but honestly, what a satisfying plot twist. Remember Shen Youchu used to run that art troupe like she was built different? On one hand, her talent was pretty decent, but on the other, plus the top leader there was a life-and-death comrade of her own father. So with such a rock-solid backer, how did she end up getting disciplined and demoted? When he asked why, Sister Zhang sneered, saying she got mixed up with that clown named Xu. Xu Hongfei. Shengying tried to piece his memories together. In his past life, around this exact time, that guy was busy preparing for their wedding. Back then, Xu Hongfei had left with the art troupe in autumn to perform in other cities. Sister Zhang shelled a handful of peanuts and stuffed them right into his hand.
Then she started spilling all the juicy drama from the past 3 months, starting in mid-November.
All right, so Xu Hongfei actually went straight to the military leadership, claiming Shen Youchu played with his feelings and tricked him.
And then abandoned him. Meanwhile, Shengying was just taking a sip of sweet water when this dropped.
And she choked, coughing like crazy. Like, ain't no way Xu Hongfei actually had the nerve to do that.
Honestly, her face was a whole mood of pure disbelief. I mean, who on earth could have predicted this?
Sister Zhang brushed the snack crumbs off her hands, sighing that in this place, reputation is everything.
Messing up your personal life might seem small, but in the military, it can absolutely ruin you. Shen Youchu was always so good to Xu Hongfei, but the guy just straight up stabbed him in the back.
Shengying nodded, remembering how the only reason she used to live in this family compound
was because she and Shen Youchu were actually officially engaged back then. Shen Youchu's dad had even personally called up his old brother-in-arms, a top boss who pulled major strings with the military. Sister Zhang whispered that she only mentioned this since they broke up.
Sister Zhang sneered, adding that while Shen Youchu was pretty talented in the military art troupe,
he definitely wasn't the only star there. Her husband had told her some major gossip. Apparently, there was a massive transfer opportunity, and Shen Youchu was originally first in line for it. But being at the top made him a target, and Xu Hongfei's little stunt completely blew everything up. Not only did he lose that life-changing transfer opportunity, but he also got stripped of his rank and demoted to a basic low-level staff member. Honestly, Sister Zhang couldn't stand how shameless both Shen Youchu and Xu Hongfei were. She was low-key celebrating their downfall, saying if Shen Youchu didn't have powerful family backing, being dishonorably discharged would have been mercy, yet he still gets to stay in the compound. Shengying was absolutely stunned. She had no idea so much drama could go down in just a few months. No wonder Shen Youchu looked like a shell of himself, looking ready to just curl up and die. And instantly ran the other way the moment he saw her coming. He was probably terrified she would laugh at his misery, but then another thought hit her. If what Xu Hongfei claimed was actually true, then all those times Shen Youchu swore up and down that his relationship with Xu Hongfei was completely innocent and pure was just a massive, bold-faced lie. No wonder he never let her near him in her past life. The pieces finally fit together. Shen Youchu had already hooked up with Xu Hongfei way back then. Shengying felt so disgusted she literally wanted to throw up while looking incredibly conflicted inside. Sister Zhang totally misread it, assuming she was still holding a candle for that toxic ex. She told Shengying that a person can be useless, but they absolutely cannot lose their conscience. Karma always collects its debts. Since Shengying was just starting her winter break, Sister Zhang insisted she stay so she could make her some fresh dumplings. But right as Shengying was about to decline, someone started violently slamming on the front door. "Qi Shengying, get out here right now!" It was definitely Xu Hongfei's screeching voice. Sister Chang realized she forgot to mention that the guy had actually moved into Shen Youchu's dorm. Sister Zhang leaped up, marched right over, and threw the door wide open. Xu Hongfei was mid-swing, ready to pound the door again, and nearly face-planted straight into the living room. Sister Zhang scoffed, asking what kind of filthy pest was crawling out on such a freezing day. Looking him up and down with absolute disgust, she told him that if he accidentally ate rat poison, he should go die in a ditch somewhere instead of acting wild at her front door. Sister Zhang came from the countryside, and her trash-talking game was on a legendary level. Xu Hongfei had never been roasted like this before, and his face instantly flushed bright red. Sister Zhang gave him a solid shove, forcing him back as she warned him not to start drama during the holidays. But she wasn't about to let some clown mess with her peace. Sister Zhang absolutely destroys him, calling out his pathetic, sissy behavior right then and there. "Stop playing the victim," she warns, pointing a sharp finger at Shen Youchu, who just rushed out. She tells him to go cry to Shen Youchu instead, since she actually buys his sob stories. "Get over here and take your man back before he goes around biting everyone like a rabid dog!" Sister Zhang shouts, and the called-out Shen Youchu turns completely red from the sheer embarrassment. Her eyes turn icy cold as she swallows her pride. She grabs Xu Hongfei's arm, hissing under her breath about how embarrassing he's being. She demands he go back with her, but that only seems to trigger him even more.
He roars that the guy who canceled the wedding is the one who should be ashamed.
Xu Hongfei shoves Shen Yuchu's hand away and starts throwing a literal tantrum at Qi Shengying.
He screams at Qi Shengying to stop hiding and show some guts to face him like a man.
He accuses him of having no shame, relying entirely on his late father's past favors.
Do you actually think they owe you forever? Let me tell you, don't even dream of...
And then boom! A glorious slap cuts his furious rant completely short. Loving this.
He stands there, completely frozen, clutching his burning cheek and staring blankly at the furious Sister Zhang.
"You dared to hit me?" he gasps, while Sister Zhang just casually wipes her hands.
Ignoring his shock entirely, she turns and glares straight at Shen Youchu with pure, unadulterated fury.
She warns Shen Youchu that if she can't control her dog, someone else gladly will.
You know exactly how Qi's father died, and that truth should keep you quiet.
If you had any decency left, you wouldn't let this trash disrespect his memory like this. Mention of Qi's father actually brings out a rare flash of guilt, and Shen Youchu immediately mutters a quiet, shameful apology.
She aggressively grabs the annoying side character's arm and forcibly drags him back to where they came from.
Our main character hoped that avoiding the residential area would keep these toxic pests away. But the very next day, right after work, his peace is instantly shattered all over again. Guess who was waiting right outside his dorm room? Yup, it is Shen Youchu herself. Everyone at the hospital already knows she used to be Qi Shengying's beautiful fiancé. They also knew he only transferred to this hospital in the first place because of her. Back then, the younger staff were honestly so jealous of our boy Qi Shengying. Who wouldn't envy having a beautiful fiancé with an elite family and a bright future? But after they broke off their engagement and he chose to leave for his advanced hospital training, they all felt sorry for him. Yet here she is, standing boldly in public like this? She stands right outside his dorm room, drawing whispers and judgmental side-eyes from all the passing colleagues.
Qi Shengying's head is literally about to explode seeing her stand there so brazenly.
Like seriously, why does this woman haunt him like a ghost in both of his lifetimes? She just won't let go, prompting him to snap and ask if she is out of her mind. He demands she get lost immediately, but Shen Youchu just stares silently at him for a moment. She lowers her eyes, claiming she is only there to apologize for Xu Hongfei's massive misunderstanding. With a soft, quiet voice, she admits he shouldn't have insulted his father like that yesterday. And? Qi Shengying asks coldly, leaving her completely stunned and looking up in shock. He looks at her with pure mockery, wondering what she actually expects him to say.
Is your grand apology just a cheap, empty sorry? She quickly offers to compensate him instead.
Shen Youchu quickly adds her offer, but he just lets out a dry, harsh laugh. A cold smirk forms on his face as he tells her to save her fake, hypocritical apologies. Neither he nor his father need anything from her, so she should just get lost forever. Your complete disappearance is the only compensation I want, he says, turning to walk away. Out of nowhere, Shen Youchu grabs his hand, staring straight at him.
With bloodshot eyes, her voice is completely raspy.
She croaks out that she finally sees Xu Hongfei's true colors now. He absolutely ruined her career and completely wrecked her entire life. At this point, she actually starts choking up with tears.
She never expected that the gentle, sweet older brother she grew up with
would stab her in the back right when she was about to make it big. Now she is demoted, disciplined, and turned into a total laughingstock. But the worst part for her is she simply cannot escape Xu Hongfei.
He keeps telling everyone they have already slept together as husband and wife.
Qi Shengying thinks she is still the same, always blaming others for her own mess.
She is still blaming everyone else. Like, did anyone force her into bed with Xu Hongfei? Was there a gun to her head? Qi Shengying realizes he was completely blind in his past life.
To think he actually saw her as a good person. He shoves her away.
He pushes the self-pitying Shen Youchu right out of his face. He tells her to get lost because he never wants to see her again. Then he walks right into his dorm and slams the door shut. Shen Youchu just stands outside with her head down before finally slinking away. Since she never looks up, she misses the figure hiding behind the wall. And look who is lurking in the shadows, Xu Hongfei gritting his teeth with absolute hatred. His gaze is pure poison as he mutters for Qi Shengying not to blame him. If Shen Youchu was not still obsessed with Qi Shengying, this would not happen.
Fast forward to the Minor New Year, and the town hall is screening a movie. The place is packed, and halfway through, Qi Shengying needs some fresh air.
He tells his coworkers he is stepping out and heads into the freezing night.
He walks down the steps and wanders about 10 meters away.
Standing near the entrance, a weird feeling suddenly washes over him. It feels like someone is watching him from the shadows with pure malice.
Talk about a total chills down the spine moment, making him frown.
He turns to head back inside, but after 2 steps, everything goes black.
Someone throws a sack over his head from behind before he can even scream.
A sharp pain hits the back of his head, and he instantly blacks out.